Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Coral Cheltenham Formbook. This time, along with our top panel of Tom Stanley, Steve Mellish and Dave Stevens, we're going to give you our best bets for the 2026 Cheltenham Festival. Thanks again to our sponsors, Coral, and remember, this episode of the Coral Cheltenham Formbook is brought to you by the Coral Rewards Shaker. With 100,000 free bets up for grabs every day of the Cheltenham Festival, it's free to play and daily. Coral's here to make this Cheltenham more rewarding. 18 plus UK, online only. Max run reward offer per player per day. 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. is the operation of the offer, and reward restrictions and requirements apply. So before we get into best bets, what about your best ever days betting at the Cheltenham Festival? Tom?
Mine, well, I wasn't actually there, and it was one horse in the Kim Muir, which is, I know it's a strange one. It was Spring Heeled back in 2014, for Rose McNamara and Jim Calotti. The horse had run at the festival in the October or maybe the November, and for whatever reason, since that point, I thought that's got to go for a Cheltenham Festival handicap, and a friend of mine said, I'm sure it was Robin McNamara was booked for the ride quite early on, and I had a good go at the horse, and I didn't realise that I'd clearly had a few nights out subsequent to backing the horse, and I was obviously, I think I did it on two separate occasions. I've come in and I've just loaded up, and I genuinely, I wasn't aware that I'd done it, and I was just so confident. So yeah, I think that's the biggest return I've had off a single bet. It was Spring Heeled and I probably haven't found the winner of the Kim Muir ever since. It was great.
Steve?
I've already mentioned the year, but it's not so much the best year financially. It was a good day. It was the day Coral Ground won the Gold Cup. I tried to mention earlier, my family, they were very young. My daughter had been one at the time, and all the three kids there with my wife looking after them and doing things during the day. It was a really good break, really good time. And on the final, I've already mentioned that I think it was lucky that Coral Ground won the Gold Cup. But my main fancy of the meeting was in the County Hurdle, a horse called Dusty Miller, who I'm not certain, I think JB Osborne rode. He rode it. Anyway, it was it happened to win on that day as well. That was on the last day as we were going home the next day, and it just made what was a really great week, enjoyment wise, really profitable as well. So that's got really fond memories for me.
And Dave?
I hate after timing as a rule, but that's what we're doing. I will indulge myself. Back in the day, £1 million was put up it was called the Betfair Million. It was if you won the Betfair Chase, the King George and the Gold Cup. I think it was the first year of that. And another firm priced up Quarto Star to achieve that treble at 66 to 1. And it's just something that caught my eye. And I spoke to James Knight, our head of racing at the time, and said, look, I forget what price he was already for the Haydock race. So what price will he be for the King George? What price will he be for the Gold Cup? Anyway, we worked out that actually the treble should be about 16 to 1. And this firm were offering 66 to 1. And Simon Clare, my colleague, and I managed to get not a large amount on, but enough to obviously get to Cheltenham in March. He'd won the first two legs, and sure enough, up the hill they came. And it wasn't generally because it wasn't life-changing money, but it was a fact of being right.
Was that his first or his second?
2007, first one.
First,
yeah. 66 to 1. I mean, that price never existed ever again for the treble from anyone. But yeah, there aren't many opportunities for me to after time. It was either that or Masterminded winning its first Champion Chase. So yeah.
Very good. So let's get on with it in terms of not just the best bets first, but championship races. Just a brief look at all five and who the guys fancy in each of them. Tom, we already had you on for day one and day two, so I'll go to Steve and Dave first. Who'd you like in the champion hurdle, Steve?
I'm going to do this honestly. When I was asked to do it, I had in my mind Constitution Hill wouldn't run, which that's probably going to be wrong, and that would shape me. But I picked out Nationale to win the champion hurdle. I'm kidding myself that she'll run in the race, and it would certainly be increased if Constitution Hill doesn't run. I just think her Cheltenham record, I fancied her to turn the form around with Price of Days Ahead with her record at Cheltenham compared with her rivals. And I think getting it's £7, isn't it? The mares get. I do think it's a really big lump of weight. And if you've got a good mare, which those two are. So Nationale for me, I'll stick with it, even though it may look different once if Tom's right with his inside information.
And obviously, yeah, by the time this is released, we would have already found out whether he was going to run, but we're recording this 2 weeks out. If he was yours, though, what would you run Constitution Hill?
We've had this chat. It's so, because it's very easy for me to say, because I wouldn't get the flack, would I? I'd love the horse to run in the champion hurdle, because a lot of the people who are going to react badly if something happens, some of them are good people, but a lot of the people can't stand racing anyway. And I don't like the idea of being dictated to by people who are speaking from ignorance, which I think a lot of them are personally. So I like it, and I do think it would be something great if he could sort of recapture and remind people just how good he was. So would I run? I'd say yes, but I'd probably bottle it and not run him. Well, because I'd be worried about the stick afterwards.
Dave?
Yeah, look, again, with the caveat, we're talking about this and we're not sure with Constitution Hill. The Constitution Hill's box office, everyone in racing is talking about it. And that in itself is brilliant for the sport. If he runs and he wins, it will be one of the greatest Cheltenham moments ever. It'll be huge. I'd love to see him do that. I too will be watching if he does run slightly through clenched fingers, because it would be very nerve-wracking. In terms of a bet, I think Golden Ace is consistently underrated. I'm not saying she would beat an on Constitution Hill, but certainly at 6-1, she's not without a chance, because she does get round. The New Lion's fascinating because he won the Turners last year. That used to be a brilliant champion trial. I think Hardy Eustace.
It's back, yep.
He's just been underwhelming this year.
Yeah.
It's crazy. He's trained by a brilliant trainer. He could go there and win. Brighter Days Ahead, does she ever quite show her best here? I'm not sure. Lossiemouth, I think we'll go for the mares. So I come back to Golden Ace. If Constitution Hill doesn't run, I think Golden Ace is absolutely rock solid. If Constitution Hill runs, I would just cheer him home, because, as I say, it could be something incredible.
Tom?
I'll basically say what these two have said between them. I mean, if Constitution Hill wins, I'm not even sure. I just couldn't have a bet in the race. Honestly, couldn't. It'd just be just too much, too invested in every way. And I think he will run. I hope he runs. If he was mine, I would want to run him. So I wouldn't have a go. If Lossiemouth was in there, irrespective of whether Constitution Hill was. Now, I don't think she will, but I do exactly what Steve said and what I said on our initial preview when we did the first 2 days. She should be going for this race.
Yeah.
And I think she would reverse form with Brighter Days Ahead at this track. She is a Cheltenham specialist. She's made for the track. Immediately after the Mares Hurdle, I think everyone's first thought was, well, she'd have absolutely bolted up in the previous race. So she ran, irrespective of who against, I would back her. But I don't think she will.
All right, that's the champion hurdle. What about the champion chase? Is that a bit clearer? Madgeborough obviously beating Marine Nationale at the DRF last time out, Dave.
Yeah, Madgeborough, a pretty warm favourite for this now. When this horse won the Triumph Hurdle a couple of years ago, I remember seeing him in the paddock, and he looked like a chaser then. He's a great big strong. I'm hoping now he's finally living up to that, because he did look fantastic last time at Leopardstown. And I would love to see him go and prove it again.
Steve?
Reading Dave's script, I think he loads of my idea of a easier about. Again, the drier the ground, the better. I think Max was probably the best chaser in training at the moment on that performance last time. I think I haven't checked, but on official races, I would imagine that's right up there with the best there's been this year. And I think they've worked out a way to ride. I think just everything they did differently, I think has made the difference. I think being positive with him, I think he jumped much better that way. And I think he's better than everything in the race.
Tom?
Yeah, when we previewed the 2 days, I was a bit more on the fence. I've come round to Madgeborough. I think, everything that Steve points out, what they did last time and that performance, you go back and look at it and go, nothing will live with that. Ultimately, he made a terrible mistake last year in the Arkle and still nearly won. So I think I'm just going to have to, get on with it and back Madgeborough.
Lots of support for Madgeborough in the champion chase. The guys have already previewed, of course, the Ryanair, the Stairs, and the Cheltenham Gold Cup. Remember to watch those previews day 3 and day 4. Just a brief reminder, though, Dave, who would be in the Stairs?
Yeah, Tiapu, a warm favourite. I can understand that. I think if the ground is soft or softer, then I think he's a massive player. But on good ground or good to soft, I think Bob Ollinger, even at the age of 11, has got a huge chance. Only one run since he won the race last year. That was second to Tiapu. He'll improve bundles for that. I think he's a very solid one. I'd love to see Marchand too run a big race for Emma Laval. it's great to have the variety, and she's proved she can do it with these stayers.
Steve?
Only because I think the horse is open to improvement over a staying trip. It hasn't got the best form, but I think I'd go for Honesty Policy. Only had a couple of goes, I think, at 3 miles, and I think a properly truly run race, which I think this would hopefully would be, I think might eke out some improvement. Needs to improve, but I'd go for him.
Tom?
Yes, agree. The Teopu and Bob Wallinger going head to head again. It just doesn't fill me with excitement. Whereas Honesty Policy is the one. He's got to find probably the best part of £10, but we don't know where he is. We don't know how good he is. He's a top level winner last year. His form at Punchestown was very good behind Jasmine DeVoe, and I thought last time it was a first start. It was a reappearance run with an eye on this, and I would always, when I'm not certain, go with the up and comer, and he is very much that.
Come back to you for the Ryanair. Obviously, the caveats that we don't really know what's going to run. Could be either Factor File or Gaelic Warrior at the top of the market that you would be with.
Well, I think Factor File, if he's the one that runs, will be shorter than Gaelic Warrior if he's the one that runs. I know they're interchangeable at the prices, and that leads me to Gaelic Warrior. I think he should run here. I think he should run in the Gold Cup. I think he will run here because I don't think they'll run both in the Gold Cup. And I think that JP has he's got John Bon for this race. So I would just about side with Gaelic Warrior, but I would love Panic Attack to run in here.
Steve?
I think they should both run in the Gold Cup. But on the grounds, I just have a feeling Factor File will be asked to defend his title. If he does, he's probably the most impressive winner at the meeting last year, almost anyway. I'd expect him to win again, but he shouldn't be here, but I think he might win.
And Dave?
I think it's really interesting what Tom said about JP's got John Bon here, because we know how much JP and the team love John Bon. Does he really want John Bon to come here, finish second to Factor File? I don't know. I don't know how sentimental JP is. I think if Factor File runs here, he will win. I think if Gaelic Warrior runs here, Factor File won't. I think Gaelic Warrior will win. I would love to see John Bon win. I'd love to see Factor File and Gaelic Warrior in the Gold Cup and John Bon win this one. That's what I'd like to happen. What do I think will happen? I think whichever of Factor File or Gaelic Warrior runs will win.
And on John Bon, that's something we didn't necessarily discuss at length, but he doesn't jump at his best at this track. Aidan Coleman's touched on it. Slightly, he's got a flat back, and he's the undulations here maybe don't suit him perfectly, but he probably jumps a bit better at this speed over this distance. So I was still stung from him last year. That was very disappointing. But this is probably his trip.
And finally, the Gold Cup. Dave, I think we're all in agreement. The Jukebox Man here.
Yeah, look, absolutely brilliant race. I think the ground will definitely play a part, as I say, on really testing ground. I think Haiti Clua has to come into the reckoning. I think the support recently for I Know the Way You're Thinking is telling. Is he showing stuff at home? Django Bay on good ground. I think an ARCA winner going in a Gold Cup, it's not unusual. So many contenders. My heart says the Jukebox Man, and my head also says the Jukebox Man's got a massive chance as well.
Steve?
Yeah, I'm the same. Wide open, not a strong view. Just was really impressed how he jumped up the straight under pressure for what is still virtually a novice. Got Cheltenham form in the Albert Bartlett, thorough stayer. The Jukebox Man for me.
Tom?
Jukebox Man have a very, very strong on his chances. I'm not buying that he was necessarily suited by a slowly run race last time. I think he's a thorough stayer, and he's gone well at Cheltenham before. And if Galopin Les Champs gets any bigger, I might just have to have a little nibble, because it has been all about the Gold Cup this year.
Okay, that's the championship races selections. Right, let's now get the guys' nap and next best across the 4 days. So I'll come to you first, Tom. Your nap of the festival
is Copec de Board in the Arkle. I haven't worn to Lulamba, I just like Charlie McCarthy just shooting his mouth off, just with Millie Mullins being like, but I think he's great, the owner, and I think the horse is a proper weapon. Even if he was coming here having never run over fences, I think he could easily just go and win it. I think he's a absolute weapon of a horse, and I want him on side in the Arkle.
Copec de Board in the Arkle. Your next best?
My next best is the Jukebox Man in the Gold Cup.
No notes. Steve.
2 handicaps. So, yeah, I'm asking for something. But then that will be his Sinatra in the county hurdle. For all the reasons I gave earlier, I think the race is ideal for him. Hopefully, it'll be a reasonable price. But anyway, I think I like that. I like his chances. And I like Jaguar in the ultimate. I don't want him to run in the 2.5 miler, but I'm hoping he runs over 3 miles because I think the trip will really suit him. As in the on the first day in the ultimate.
He can't win it because he's never run over 3 miles before. Remember that stats, yeah.
I do.
You love those stats.
I love them. So much logic involved.
What if somebody said to Jaguar, nobody's ever won this?
He'd have just a confidence. I know, he'd be gutted, yeah. He'd be like the Spurs midfield. He wouldn't
What is he going to do? I don't even get to the starting point.
No.
And Dave, we're going to hear the Cheltenham Roar, which is what it's all about, of course. We won our nap in the first race of the meeting. It is Old Park Star, 3 out of 3 other hurdles. I thought the horse he beat of Gary and Josh Moores at Haydock last time, they think quite a lot, and he absolutely beat him by a country mile. And I think Old Park Star, Nicky Anderson, doesn't often miss with his supreme hot pots, and I think he will get 1 on the board for Britain. We will lead 1-0 in the Presbytery Cup.
And your next best?
My next best is No Drama This End, and at the time of this recording, I cannot understand how Mighty Park has replaced him as favourite. I know he's trained by Willie Mullins. He's won a maiden. No Drama This End is a Grade 1 winner, won the Coral Cheltenham, of course, and I think that they have the wrong price anyway. So No Drama This End is my next best.
Okay, mine up's Majbra in the Champion Chase based on what he did against Marine Nationale last time out. And I think Steve's words that he's the most exciting chaser in track, or the best chaser in track.
I think it's probably the highest races. I haven't checked the facts, but I think he might well be.
That's enough for me. And Newton Tornado in the National Hunt Chase. Yeah. I think a horse who's open to more improvement going up in trip. And Rebecca Curtis even has got a good record in the race. What about Festival Lays then? What's the one horse you would like to take on, Dave?
I look at this, and again, I've made it clear throughout these previews that I'm going to be taking on Willie Mullins quite a lot, which is probably utter madness, but then that's me, so that's fine. I look at horses like Kopek de Borg, I know you like, Final Demand. They are not coming into this festival with perfect preparations. And normally, you have to come into it with a perfect preparation, unless you're Willie Mullins and the likes of Vautour, Gaelic Warrior last year, can come into it often. So I'm leaving Final Demand and Kopek alone. But I mentioned Mighty Park in the Turners. I don't know how it's favourite. It's only won a maiden hurdle. Yes, it's trained by Willie Mullins, but No Drama This End is going to serve it up to him. So he's the one, Mighty Park, I would be taking on.
Okay, Mighty Park. What about yourself, Steve?
Just think with the lay, I mean, you come up with a 10-1 chance, I don't fancy a win, but then you're backing 10s on, aren't you, effectively, which, So I want a short one. I don't quite buy into the price of Bambino Fever. She might well win. I absolutely see it. I don't think her festival bumper form, I think if you take it literally with all the horses she beat, it reads well. If you take it with the horses she narrowly beat, I don't think it reads particularly well. And I don't see why she's half the price of the horse who beat her, Old School Outlaw, when they met in Nace. Willie Mullins is a genius and he might well win, but at the price, I'd be happy to take her on.
Okay, Bambino Fever. And Tom?
Dino Blue for me. I just need to check the price, but she's around about 15 to 8, and I think we can get her beat this year. Tiapu was another one, who I'd be against at the top of the market, but I think with the likes of Spindlebury and definitely Panic Attack running for me against Dino Blue when she hasn't done a huge amount this year, jogged around at 4s on an 8s on. I'd happy to be against her in the Mayor's Chase.
And he's a bit of a bigger price down than he was, but Final Demand, I think there's a bit more depth in that Brown Advisor than at the starter that I like. Western Fold, for example, I thought ran well behind Kate Doty last time out. Right, that's the lay. So to finish off then, going to get the guys to give us their Festival Lucky 15. We'll be in Barbados at the end of it. Dave, after you.
He might well be in Barbados anyway. This is quite possible.
I might be in Bognor Regis having taken on Willie Mullins. There's nothing wrong with Bognor Regis, by the way. My Festival Lucky 15 in the Fred Winter, Winston Jr. Now, I'm going to have to do 2, non-run and bet both of them, because Jaguar is in it, but I don't know if he's going to go in the Ultima or the Plate. So I'm going to have to do 2 with him here. But Jaguar's in it. Regent Stroll in the Jack Richards, all going on to the Jukebox Man, going up the hill for Harry Redknapp. There we go. I'll see you in Bognor Regis, Harry.
Steve?
Well, I wouldn't have far to go. I live quite near Bognor Regis. So my lucky 15 would be all in handicaps. County Hurdle, Sinatra, which isn't in the right order, apologies. Jaguar in the Ultima for me on the first day, and then 2 horses on the Thursday. Supremely West in the Pertemps, and Jericho Repene in the Kinview.
Tom?
I agree with Steve. I have to have Saratoga on side in the Fred Winter just because it seems so obvious, and yeah, I want him in a lucky 15. Whether I'll back him individually, I don't know, but I think he's got to go in there. Jinko Blue in the Coral Cup, based on the second of Cabad and Mathan last time. I think that reads really well, and Nicky Henderson's got a good record in the Coral Cup. Meetly by the Sea in the Jack Richards. I know you're going to have loads of potential plot jobs in that, but I think that horse has got loads of ability off the current mark. And I like the fact they ran a graded race behind Lulamba last time. I think that was smart. And Supremely West, who I think is going to be the best handicap horse of £2 lower than a really good piece of form in November in the Pertemps. So that's my lucky 15, all in handicaps.
Okay. I'm going to go Western Fold in the Brown Advisory. Jacob's Ladder, who was a good winner at DRF last time out, hopefully goes for the Grand Annual, but has 3 entries. Absolutely Doyen in the Pertemps, and the Passing Wife in the finale, hopefully the Martin Pipe. Thanks very much to Tom, to Steve, and to Dave. Remember, you can watch every race from the Cheltenham Festival live on Racing TV. And thanks again to our sponsors, Coral. Remember, of course, free-to-play reward shaker. There are 100,000 free bets up for grabs every day at the festival. That's Cheltenham more rewarding. 18 plus UK, online only, max 1 reward offer per player per day. 8 AM to 8 PM, reward restrictions and T's and C's apply. Thanks again for watching, and please remember to gamble responsibly and enjoy all the action from the 2026 Cheltenham Festival.